Hey everybody, it's Megan from allabunchofmomsense.com, and I just wanted to pop in and say hi to everyone. It's been a busy few weeks for me. Tax season is underway. I am currently sitting in the back in my office, hiding from the real world. The office is closed for the evening. It's not quite 10 o'clock, and just trying to wrap a few things up so I can head home. And I had a minute while I was loading some stuff, so I thought I'd pop in and say hello. I appreciate everybody hanging with me. As you know, those of you who were here for this time of the year last year, this is a rough time of year for me. I'm working some pretty crazy hours. But if you don't already follow me on Twitter, I encourage you to do so. Twitter's kind of still easy for me to pop in and out of pretty regularly. You can find me on Twitter at TaxMegan. And if I'm not following you, if you send me an @ message, I will be sure to try and pick you up quickly. I hope everybody's doing great. I have a little bit more to my fabulous Colt story, and I think I'll just share it this way because this will just go a whole lot quicker. When I last left off, maybe we had won the Titans game. I'll have to kind of look and see where I left off. But I had a fabulous time, an amazing time, an unreal, crazy, wild, just such an experience. As a football fan, as a Colts fan, I love the entire experience and cannot thank the entire Colts organization nearly enough. Jim Irsay is an amazing host, and we got to experience things that are just beyond my wildest dreams. So that was really, really cool. And then, sorry, I'm trying to load this up over here so I can see where I left you. They continue to do Twitter contests. And in fact, Jim Irsay is still doing Twitter contests. So if you are a music fan, a football fan, his tweets are completely off the wall. They're really, they're a lot of fun. Some days you kind of go, really? What are you talking about? But he does a lot of music lyrics, and he's a really amazing kind of person. So you can follow Jim at Jim Irsay. So there were additional contests and stuff, and I was really excited because I wanted to try and see if I could win again. I wanted to go back. I wanted to get to experience it all again, and I wanted to get to take my mom. My mom had never been to a game at Lucas Oil, and now, thanks to the generosity of a dear friend of mine, and then the generosity of the owner of the Colts organization, I had been able to go twice in like a 3-week period of time. So several of the Colts players are also on Twitter, and they were doing other contests as well. And we were getting ready for the playoff game with the Jets, and a couple different players were doing some kind of 2-day contests, and they would ask quiz questions, but you couldn't answer them right away. You had to wait, and then they would have you answer them after they asked the last question. And so it was really kind of a neat way to do things. And Jacob Lacey had posed some questions, and there were several other players that had posed different questions and stuff, and I had responded to several of them. But I ended up winning Jacob Lacey's contest and won a pair of tickets to go back on that Saturday for the playoff game, which was, I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. Totally won 2 weeks in a row. It was unreal. And that one was more of you had to have the questions right, and you had to be the 27th correct answer. And I was 29th, but 2 of the entries that were before me were from people who had been disqualified because they didn't follow the rules. So I was in. It was really cool. So I called my mom, and I was like, hey, what are you thinking about the game? Well, make sure your camera battery's charged because we're going to the Luke because I won more tickets. My husband, bless him, was totally cool with staying home, hanging out with the kids. He was like, I got great seats and stuff. We went, and the whole experience when we got there, when my mom and I went out, she and I left the office. We worked that day. We left the office. We drove up. We were the Saturday night game, so we got off work at 5, headed up to Indianapolis, which is about an hour drive for us, and got to the will call window and had my ID and stuff, and I gave it to the will call people, and I said, I won tickets on Twitter from Jacob Lacey. And she went, she looked, and she came back, and she said, you won them on Twitter? Yeah. Jacob Lacey, you said? Yeah. She said, okay, hang on, we're having a little trouble. I said, well, he had tweeted back at me when we were on our way up. We were about halfway to Indianapolis, and he tweeted at me, and he said, hey, I need to make sure I've got your last name spelled right. They're going to be up there, blah, blah, blah. So they weren't there. Like 20 minutes later, we're standing outside still. It's freezing cold. It is so, so frigid cold. And we're standing outside, and they come back, and they were like, okay, we can't find the tickets, but we know for sure that you're supposed to have some. So here's a pair of tickets. Okay. So look, they're like balcony seats. They're section 635 or something, and I'm like, that's cool. Dude, we're in. We're going to the game. And it's, you know, yes, awesome seats are great, and I have definitely had some really awesome seats. But so we get in. In the meantime, I had tweeted back at him while we were waiting, and I'm like, hey, they're having trouble finding him. Am I in the right place? I thought maybe I ended up in the wrong window, or that something had happened there. So I hadn't heard anything back. We got those tickets. We went through security. We came in. We're walking down a hallway, and my phone goes off, and he tweeted me back, and he's like, they're on their way up right now. I went, there's a customer service window. There's a ticket window inside the building. I said, let's go back and just see. I said, maybe they're better seats, and we can trade up, and we can get the tickets we were supposed to. Best move ever. We went from balcony section to being down. We were on the Colts sideline. We were in the north end of the field on the 10-yard line. We were 8 rows up from the field. Awesome. Really, really great seats. So I was really glad we went back. My mom had a great time. I had a great time. I'll post some pictures here as well so that you can see a couple of pictures. But we lost. It was a really tight game. It was a really good game. But we ended up losing, so we were out. But that's okay. We're very excited because we get to host the Super Bowl next year. And we are hopeful that we will have the Colts playing at home for the Super Bowl. So that'll be cool. In the meantime, a bunch of the Colts players are on Twitter. We've interacted a lot. They're really engaged with us as fans, which I think is awesome. And I totally appreciate it. Big shout outs to Pat McAfee and Robert Mathis and of course Jacob Lacey. He's been amazing. Just a bunch of guys. Tosh Smith, who has blocked some really key punts this last season. He does Fat Taj tweets, which I think are awesome. Like, he'll be hungry, and there's a hashtag, Fat Taj tweet, which several of us have hooked onto. And then a ton of us I've developed some really amazing friendships as well. And as bloggers, we know how that works. You know, you meet these people in this online venue, and while you may never actually meet them in person, you develop relationships with them. Several of these folks are folks that I actually did get to meet in person as a function of the Jim Irsay event. But I've made some amazing, fabulous new friends, sharing lots of great laughs. We've been having a great time. Stacy, we're laughing at you and your screwdriver and pot. I just want you to know that. So you should read. There's a whole thread. And one of the girls had to open a can of spaghetti sauce with a screwdriver and a pot because she didn't even have a hammer and she didn't have a can opener and she wanted to eat. So we've been making lots of "you might be a redneck" jokes. It's been a lot of fun. Keeps things chipper while I'm here at the tax office. So, okay, I have already burned up better than 9 minutes, so I am jumping off of here. I would like to go home. This will be my first night in several nights that I'll be home before 11, so that's pretty awesome. And that's even with throwing this in, so I'm pretty stoked about that. I am going to roll out. You guys have a great week. If you are out east somewhere, try and stay warm. I don't know what you people are doing out there to keep bringing on these amazing snowstorms, but you should knock it off about any time. And we will hopefully talk to you again soon. Bear with me. The next couple weeks are really going to be pretty crazy for me, so I don't know how this will pan out, but I will be back. As always, thanks. Have a great night.